taking out, you know, he's presently British Deputy High Commissioner in India, and his schedule was so busy, but still he took out some time for all of you. And yes, and yesterday when I met him during dinner, he told me that I requested him that, sir, we have so many students, he want to listen to you. So he said, okay, I will at least take out some time. And thank you so much, sir, for taking out time for all these students, and especially for Sweta. So Dr. Andrew Fleming is presently Deputy British High Commissioner to India. Mr. Nikhil Naveen, he is my Chevening Fellow, and other government officials. So now I will request Dr. Andrew Fleming to share his lifelong experiences with you, because he has traveled more than 117 countries. So I am sure he is going to give a lot of experience. He is going to share a lot of experiences and its journey with you, sir.
Thank you. Just let me put this. That works. Yes. I'll put that in my back pocket. Will it work still?
Yes, sir.
Lovely. I'm not very good at this. Oh my God. It's going to be videoed as well, is it? I hope it doesn't appear on YouTube. Is it working? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Lovely. I'll move it up a little bit. There. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm quite overwhelmed. This room is so full. And I understand all of you have the ambition of joining the Indian Civil Services, is that right? Yes. Becoming IS officers, all of this. I'm sure that Kumar here is brilliant, but I know that not every single person in this room is going to succeed. But that does not mean to say, in any way, shape or form, if you don't, that you're a failure, because you're not. Okay? The fact that you want to do something, the fact you want to achieve in itself is good. And I think in everybody's life, you face a lot of challenges, a lot of things. Some things can be predicted, some things can't. Some things come along. And there's always the lottery of where and how you were born. I think many of you come from very humble backgrounds, and you've come this far. I really applaud you for that. And, you know, some of you will know people that can help you. It's all about networking and communicating and all of these things. You know, I mean, Shweta here is a brilliant example. I learnt about her last night. I was utterly blown away by her story. And a lot of what's come has been thanks to her connection with Kumar and the help that she's had from him. So, you know, this is what I say. You have to be ready to take the different opportunities that come your way. And for some of you, even though you may not be very open and willing to talk about it, there's how many people are here? How many people are in this room roughly?
Around 150.
Around 150 people here. And I think some people are also online or not.
Yes, sir.
How many online roughly?
Almost 50, sir, but
Another 50. So the number's not important. There's a reason. Around 200 people listening to me talking my nonsense. Okay? Now, I have, according to my country, the UK, a disability, or more than one, but they are hidden. I'm neurodiverse. I have dyslexia and dyspraxia. Dyslexia, everybody knows because of some Bollywood movie that was made a decade or more ago. Everyone knows about dyslexia. People write back to front, upside down and all. I couldn't write at all until I was nearly 15, in a way anybody could read what I wrote. Okay, so I had that challenge. Dyspraxia is another neurodiverse condition that you'll never have heard of, probably. If you have, you can put your hand up, but usually nobody or one person. The chances are some of you have got dyspraxia just like me. It's never been diagnosed. A lot of things when you think and when you're asked a question all come into your head and overcrowd your head. And it makes it very, very difficult to know what to say and how to deal. So that was one of the challenges that I grew up with and had to deal with. Also, very bad. It affects your balance and your ability to play sport and all of that. So, and also ability to fight, which is, you know, I mean, nobody should fight. We should be peaceful. But sometimes when you're a kid and people want to pick a fight with you, you need to be able to defend yourself. I could never do that. So these are some of the challenges that I lived with when I was growing up. And in fact, my diagnosis, dyspraxia, only came when I was 43. So it was only when I was 43 I finally saw what I'd been struggling with, and I'd already mostly found my own way. But around 1 in 10 people have some neurodiverse condition. And in India, there's a stigma about neurodiversity, and nobody will ever admit it openly, and I get that. But actually, there's so much help that can be given to people who have some of these things. I've had a lot of help with my dyslexia and my dyspraxia. It's helped me be more effective ultimately. You know, I've managed to get to do the job that I'm doing now in Calcutta, looking after 13 Indian states and the Andaman Islands, and a combined population, I'm told, of 370 million people, which if it was a standalone country would be bigger than the population of the United States of America. And everything about India in terms of numbers and scale amazes me. Most of you are from Bihar. I have to be honest with you, most people in my country wouldn't even know where Bihar was. They know about India. They don't know about Bihar. Bihar has a population equivalent to Mexico. Everybody knows where Mexico is. So, you know, all of you, by wanting to do what you want to do, one of the things that we need to do is raise the profile of Bihar. And Bihar produces many excellent civil servants. I've actually met lots and lots of fabulous IAS officers, IFS officers, IPS officers, all around India. And indeed, the current Deputy High Commissioner, my counterpart who represents India in London, is born in Patna. So there are many, many brilliant people that come out of Bihar. There must be a reason for that. But people need to know more about Bihar, more about Patna, and love it more. Not dwell on things that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago, but focus on the now. Focus on the future. I can tell you from the moment we were coming into land, my colleague, who's still at the conclave, Hamanti, and I, we were blown away by the beauty of the city. So green. We walked along your Ganga path last night. The atmosphere was beautiful. This morning we were taken by our friend here to have a little walk along by the Ganges. I admired all the street art there and the way that people are educated through it. All of this is really, really special. And I can tell you it doesn't exist in quite the same scale and quite the same way in many of the other Indian cities I've been to. And he said I've been to 117 countries. In India, I've been to 20 states. This is the 20th state in India that I visited. So I've been around a little bit. Anyway, you want to hear my story? I try to tell you in about 10 minutes, and then maybe I can take 2 or 3 questions, and then I have to run away because there's a rumour the Chief Minister is going to turn up at this conclave. So, I told you I'm neurodiverse, and neurodiverse kids are a bit different, you know. When I was 2, my parents thought it was cute that I'd learned every country on the globe, and I would point. They would point to a country, I'd tell them it's Italy, it's Mongolia, it's this, it's that. It was party trick when their friends came round. They thought it was very funny. But after their friends had seen all this a couple of times, they had to teach something else. So then they taught me capitals. I learned all the capitals by the time I was 3. Every capital of every country in the world. And then I had the idea that I wanted to learn how to draw the flag of every country in the world. So when I was 4, by then, I could more or less draw every flag. Some are a little bit difficult, because they're quite detailed, but more or less the outline of every flag there was. In those days, there were less countries than there are now. You know, we've seen more countries grow out of Russia, of Yugoslavia, of some countries in Africa and so on. But that was what I did. I was fascinated by the world, and every time I went to the library, I would only take books about other countries and about what life was like in other countries. And, you know, from 5, 6, completely obsessed about this. I always knew I wanted to explore the world. I thought the best way to do that would be to be a pilot. Yeah. And anyway, funnily enough, my son, who's now studying physics at Durham University, had exactly the same wish from when he was 4 until he was 12. And then he decided to diversify. But for those years, he wanted to be a pilot too. And his mum, who is from Vietnam, was very disappointed because she wanted him to be a doctor. Yeah. Have you heard about your parents wanting you to be a doctor or an engineer? Yes. Yeah, this is it. I said, no. You have to let the child decide what they want to do. They know what their strengths are. They know where their passion is. And if you're going to do something, you need to have the passion to be able to do it well. So I was always passionate about the world. I used to do all the things that kids my age might have done, collecting stamps. It was another way I learnt about the world. Collecting coins and occasionally banknotes, but not too many of those. And I was an only child. So I didn't have any friends, really, that many. And because I was a little bit different to other kids, they weren't very nice to me. They were a bit bully and all that. I used to get beaten up every day 4 times. Once on the way to school, they would jump out and beat me up. Once on the way home for lunch, once on the way back, and then once on the way home in the evening. Every day, for years, it happened. And my mother would say, fight back, fight back. I told you I couldn't, yeah? I can't punch out of a plastic bag. So I grew up with that, and I learned that the best way to deal with being beaten up was to cry quickly, because that's what the bullies wanted most. As soon as I cried, they'd leave me alone and run away. So sometimes I'd cry even when I saw them. Yeah. Anyway, at primary school, apart from knowing every capital, which impressed the teachers sometimes unless they told me the capital was X, and I said, no, it's not, it's Y, and then they didn't like it. But I was always right. Apart from that, and apart from getting sometimes a C in my report for my geography, I got only D's and E's in my report. And my mother was called to the school, and they said, your son, there's something wrong with him. She said, there's nothing wrong with him. I kept in the school. They kept me in the back row, right about where this lady's sitting over there. Nobody ever bothered about me. I just sat there in my own world, drawing pictures and whatever. I didn't get very much teaching in the primary school. When I was 11, on the last day, the head teacher came. She said, I'm going to tell you, children, what you're going to do when you grow up. I mean, she's like some kind of fortune teller. Anthony, you're going to be a pilot. I thought, damn you, Anthony, I want to be the pilot. Julie, you're going to be a nurse. Carol, teacher, and so on. Simon, you're going to be a bank manager. Poor Simon. Anyway, she finished telling all the kids except for one, and then she went to leave. And somebody said, well, what about Andrew, miss? Everybody laughed. She said, oh, yes, Andrew, I forgot about you. You'll be lucky to get a job picking rubbish. And then she left. Yeah, that's true. So when I went to secondary school, you can imagine, you know, confidence. The neurodiversity, although I didn't know about it, affected my confidence. Definitely it does if you have that issue. A lot of people with disabilities have challenges with confidence. My confidence was somewhere down here. I was very low. And I had very low self-esteem, and I really thought I was stupid. So I said to my parents, I don't want to be bullied anymore. Please send me to the furthest possible school. So they got me into a school that was 2 hours journey each way from my house. I had to get up at 6 in the morning to be at school by 8:30. It wasn't much fun, but for the first 2 or 3 weeks, you know, the kids were quite nice. And on the first day at that school, there was 240 kids, which in the UK with 30 children per class, 8 classes. And the head teacher said, we're going to put you in your classes by stream, starting at the bottom. So I sat there waiting for my name. 30 names came, my name didn't come. I thought, this is very odd. What's wrong? Next 30, same thing. Anyway, it went on like that. 30 kids left, and they're sweating, shaking. What the hell is going on? My parents have made a mistake. This school hasn't accepted me. I'll have to go to that school next to my house with all those horrible kids. Oh my God. Then they called my name. Top class. I went off with these other kids and sat in that class for 3 months. Every time the door opened, I was convinced they were coming to say, we've made a mistake. Andrew, follow me. They never came. After 3 months, it rained. I don't know. Many of you know about stories from the Bible, but there's a story about Noah's Ark, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and it came down like that. It bucketed down. And I had this long journey. I didn't want to go. I didn't have anything to protect me, so I hid in the classroom. My teacher was there playing the trumpet because his wife wouldn't let him play the trumpet at home. Yeah, it's true. And after about 5 o'clock, so 1.5 hours after school had finished, he says, I'll have to go home now. Maybe I can give you a lift, Andrew. I said, that's very kind, sir. I live here. He said, my God, I didn't know anybody lived that far. It's twice as far as where even I live. But he took me home. And on the way home, I had the courage to say, sir, why am I in your class? He said, what do you mean? I said, I don't understand why I'm in this class. Why am I in the top class? He said, because you're very clever. That was the first time someone told me I was clever. Yeah. And I'm always thankful to him. So I said, how can it be? He said, you sat an exam at your previous school. Multiple choice. Answer A, B, C, D, or E. Tick the box. A dyslexic person can do that. It's no problem. And then mathematic paper. Only the answers go on there, no working out. That mathematic didn't have to show my working out because I couldn't do the working out. I just got the number in my head somehow and wrote down the number. Number, I was okay. Letters, I had the trouble with the back to front, upside down, and nobody could read anything I wrote anyway. So there we are. So he said you scored 96 or 97%. Nobody scores like that. So there we are. But still some trouble started. You know, the bullies still picked on me because I was this strange, weird kid, and kids are like animals, you know? They smell out. Anyone who's a little bit different, they will pick on them. Huh? I'm sure you can remember some of that.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And so one of the biggest disadvantages was I couldn't play sport. All the boys played sport before iPhone and all. What else was there to do than play sport for hours? And I couldn't play, and I wanted to, and I love sport. And then when I was 14, the Football Association in the UK was struggling to find referees. They said, we're going to let people from 14 be referees. So I jumped on the course and I qualified to be one of the youngest football referees in my country. Then something magic happened. All the sports teachers in my school, who by the way were also the thugs, they would always terrorize the kids. All those teachers suddenly wanted to be my friend, wanted me to referee their games and all. None of the bullying happened anymore because they were all watching. It all stopped. Then I also had been getting help with my writing, and when I was 15, finally I could write in a way people could read. All this time they'd kept me in the top class because they said, we understand you're clever, you're learning and all, but we're working to help you. So somehow I got there, and then I did my exams, and because there wasn't the type of adjustments I spoke about. You know, if you're dyslexic, dyspraxic now, they'll give you keyboard, all of these things. None of that existed. So I didn't find exams very easy. I didn't cope with the pressure. There was no additional time, which there is now for people with these profiles. So I didn't do that well, but I got enough to get a job at a junior level and it happened that there was a big civil service office near my house, so I took the job there. And I went to work there. But before I did that, for 1 year, I went to the person that helped me with the writing and all, and I said, look, you've helped me for 5 years. I want to help you for 1 year. What can I do? She said, there's 2 boys that have come here from Vietnam. They don't speak any English at all. None. I want you to teach them because I haven't got enough time. There's only one of me helping all these 1,200 kids. Can you do that? I said, I don't know how to teach English, but I'll try. She said, I'll give you the guidance, but you can help them. So I worked with these kids for a year. Both of them went off to university, got degrees, did very well. 18 years later, they got in touch with me. They said, Andrew, we're going back to Vietnam. We want you to come. So that was 2003. And I'm again getting emotional. Dyspraxic people always cry when they get this emotion. I watch any film. Oh, it's very embarrassing, huh? That's why I only ever watch films on planes when I don't know anybody else. Otherwise, never I watch a film. Anyway, I went to Vietnam, and while I was in Vietnam, I was walking in the park one day, and I got chatting to a girl, and that girl is now my wife. Now, quickly, because I've talked for too long, really, and I have only told you half the story, but let me go on for another 5 minutes. So, when I went to start work, 17, bottom level in the civil service. First 3 weeks were really good, a lovely boss, nice team, everybody was very happy. Then the boss got promoted and left. And a new person came, she was a bully. The whole bullying thing started again. I was like, nah, I can't deal with this again. And somebody said, go to the trade union office. You mustn't go on YouTube, by the way. You can use it, but don't post it anywhere. I don't mind people, but I don't want this trade union story I'm sharing with you because it's relevant to the context. I said, what's a trade union? They said, oh, it defends the workers, it helps the workers, it supports them. They'll help you with this bully. So I went there. There were 4 guys sitting at a table. They were playing a game called Monopoly. You may have heard of it. Monopoly. Have you heard of it? Yes. Okay. They said, oh, we're busy playing this game. Come back in 4 days. Here's a form. Fill it in. They just made fun of me, really. I took the form, I filled it in. I saw an address, I posted it. I didn't want to go back and see those guys. I got my membership card. And then after about 3 months, I saw that they were doing elections for people to lead the union. They do elections every year. And I met 1 or 2 other people that complained and said the union in our office was rubbish. Well, it was. So we decided that we would stand and we could do a better job, even though we didn't really know what a trade union was. So we did that. And we had, I think, 273 members in 1986, which is when I started. And they were wanting to cut jobs. Anyway, we campaigned against the job cuts. We said you need more jobs. And we recruited and we persuaded people to join, and we got some results, and we did better and better. Anyway, to cut a long story short, a decade later, I did it for 10 years, believe it or not. I left, we had 3,300 members and a 67% membership, which came down to a lot of hard work, which I will not take the credit for. There was a whole team of people. But what it did for me, it taught me how to negotiate. It taught me how to do some type of public speaking at a basic level. It taught me how to try to argue both verbally and in writing and all kinds of different types of communication. So I learned a lot of stuff that none of my peers had learned. So when I finally decided I wanted to go and follow my original dream that I'd spoken about, I mean, I'd given up on the pilot by then because I was wearing glasses and all. But I wanted a job that was international. I decided there was a job came up. I said, I'm going to go and do this job. It was researching political and human rights issues in Africa, but I sat in London. And I would do it all online. The internet was still quite a new thing in those days. And I used to do it there. And then after a while, I said, look, why are we sitting here doing it like this? Why don't we go to the countries and do it? Oh, That would be very difficult. How can we do that? I made some contacts, and then I made a proposal. I said, look, I'm going on holiday. I'm paying for myself to go to country X. If you give me this money, country Y next door is causing us a lot of problems. I'm not naming the countries on purpose, by the way. Country Y next door is causing us a lot of problems, and we need a lot more information. So let me go there. Give me £200 and 3 days. I will go and visit. I will do thing. I will write a report, and then it will help solve this problem. So they agreed. So I did it, and then after that, this thing became very common practice, and they did lots and lots of those reports. I did more myself. I went to Rwanda and Eritrea, and did similar things, that's when I really knew. I was certain that I wanted to have this type of international role, and then I had to think, well, how am I going to get there? These skills are okay, but I haven't got any experience of working with ministers. I haven't got any experience of a whole load of other things. So I had to plan each job I took. I thought, what is this going to give me, and where am I going to go next? So I went through that journey. And then at one point, somebody gave me a chance to go and do a job in the Foreign Office for a few months. I went to Uganda. I came back. I said to all my friends, oh, that was amazing. Living in Uganda for 7 months. I want to join the Foreign Office. These are my friends, huh? They laugh in my face. They say, yeah, you, they'll never have you. Well, they were wrong. But it did take me 13 years of this process to get to the point where finally I got admitted to the Foreign Service. But if you don't give up, you can achieve, you can get there. And I did. And, from there, I got my diagnosis as part of the joining process, this dyspraxia. Suddenly I discovered that's what I had, and I got a load of help with different things that I'd found difficult, that hadn't been available, and combined with what I'd already learned myself, I've done pretty well, I have some strengths. Every person with a disability has a superpower, don't they? Yes. Every person with a disability has a superpower. My superpower probably connecting people. People say, what does a Deputy High Commissioner do? Well, I do a lot of things. I can talk about that for another hour, but I'll tell you just in 3 words. I join dots. Yeah, basically, this people, this opportunity, there has to be some link to the UK somewhere in there, because I'm representing the UK in India. But basically, that's what I do. And it works. I'm also quite good at social media, which I didn't realize I ever would be, because I'm a bit of a technophobe. But you can find me on Instagram, Andrew007 UK. Same handle on X, and if you ever use it, Ku. All 3. Also there, I'm on LinkedIn. I did a post about Bihar yesterday. If you're on LinkedIn, go and look for it. My hashtag is there. Show Patna some love. Okay? I want you all to show Patna some love. Showcase the best things about Patna. Showcase the best things about Bihar. That's something that you should all do and always be proud about. I was in Jharkhand last week, and I found somebody that was doing tribal cooking. And I said, when did you open your restaurant? She said, 5 years ago. I said, why only 5 years? She said, nobody is interested in having this type of food in a restaurant. But I was determined to bring it to the restaurant and do. And it's actually working now. I'm getting lots of foreigners coming, and I'm flying to Taiwan, Thailand, Italy, and all, showcasing Jharkhand food. I mean, this is a kind of person I love to meet, a real change maker. Last night, same thing happened, no? Yes, we wanted to have some local Bihar dish. Was it available in any restaurant? No. There's definitely an opportunity for someone to open a restaurant, upper end, serving Bihar food. None of you're all going to be IAS officers, but maybe you know someone. And take the leaf from the lady in Jharkhand and think about that. Last thing I'll say, because I've really gone over today, I don't know what happened, is that, I've had a lot of struggle, but I've also had a lot of help, a lot of support. And I must never forget that, because equally, I want to give the same support, the same help back to other people. And I try in my own little ways, as and when I can. And what I always tell people is about one of my favorite writers, poets, is Maya Angelou. I'm sure you know Maya Angelou. And if you don't, please Google about her. She was someone that had terrible challenges as a young woman, black woman growing up in the south of the United States when there was a lot of discrimination. She had an abusive stepfather, and she faced a lot of challenges. But eventually, what did she do? She stopped speaking. And she used to go to the library every day, and she went to the library for 3 years with one relative that took her, trying to help her. And then after that, she emerged, and she began to write. And her writing, I think, is some of the most powerful writing of her era. And the thing that she wrote that touches my heart the most is very simple. People will forget what you say. People will forget what you do. But they'll never forget how you make them feel. And that is the mantra by which I try to live. So if you follow that, when you become IAS officer, big, powerful person, lots of people under you, don't forget that. Always do that. Always smile and thank the gate man that opens the door for you in the morning. Always be thankful to the person that brings you a cup of tea. Always be thankful to people that help you out of difficult situations. Don't forget about any of that. God bless you all. Thank you.
Any questions you have? One or two questions? Yeah, please.
Welcome, sir. Sir, I came to know that you travel more than 117 countries. So I would like to know that how do you fit in your lifestyle being an ambassador?
All right. I'm not an ambassador. I'm a deputy high commissioner, but
Like you are here.
but I am.
representing UK.
I'm representing the UK, and I head the office in Calcutta,
Yes.
which includes covering Bihar. But it's still, I mean, I haven't travelled to that many countries since I met that lady in the park in 2003, apart from for work. Before I met her, nearly all my travel, bar a few countries, have been private. I used to travel once a year, then twice a year, when my means would allow me to do it. First country I went was China in 1987, on my own. Outside of Europe, I'd been a bit in Europe. Second, India, 1988. I went to Kashmir, Ladakh, Shimla, Delhi, Agra, travelled around. And it became addictive. All my money went on, I don't drive. I saved money, everything, for travel and watching football. I've been to 872 football grounds as well, around the world, which is a little bit nerdy, but there you are. So most of those countries up until 2003, personal. Since 2003, for work. And I've probably done 67 personal, and the rest because I had to go for work. And I covered jobs which took me around multiple countries in different regions. I lived in Ghana, for example. I had to cover 18 countries from there. Then I had a job in London, covering North Africa, the Middle East, and Afghanistan. So I was traveling to Iraq, Kuwait, all these places. Is it? Like,
CM is arriving in 5 minutes.
fine, we'll do the thing. But you're more important, really.
Yeah.
Okay?
They're all important.
So that is it. It's just like good fortune, good luck, good karma maybe. I'd always wanted to see much of the world. I'm hoping now I'm here, I'll be able to go to Bangladesh, Bhutan, maybe Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Tajikistan as well, because they're not too far away. Most of the countries around here I've been, but I'd like to see a few more if I can. But to be honest with you, the most important thing for me is traveling and seeing and discovering the 13 states and the Andaman Islands that I look after from Calcutta, because how can I otherwise do my job? And it's like every day I'm getting a chance now to travel and explore and learn new things and meet amazing people like Shweta here, Kumar, and so on. One more question, and then I'm going to go. Yes?
Sir, where do you think as a India's stand in global crisis now?
Global crisis? How do you mean? Can you clarify?
Wars have begun, Israel, Hamas, and Rus and Ukraine.
Well, I mean, I think India has always had a non-aligned position, if I'm not mistaken. It tries to toe a independent line. Of course, it's a matter for independent states to decide what their foreign policy will be, and they make it very clear. I think India ran an excellent G20. They really showcased India to the world. I don't think any other country has had the innovation of bringing delegations to every one of their states, particularly a one the size of India. Absolutely incredible. And then on top of that, they went to South Africa and lobbied for the African Union to have a permanent seat. All of that is really, really intelligent, really brilliant, and I have a lot of respect for the IFS officers.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Namaste. This is Riddhi here.
Hello.
It was wonderful listening to you, sir. Your story was very moving. I hope you enjoyed your stay at Bihar. I don't have a question for you.
Oh, but you're very sweet to say that. You know what? This touched my heart. I'm going to give you a bunch of flowers. Yeah.
I liked your ability to express yourself, and I like gentlemen who are very sensitive. And,
Thank you.
And sir, I can't help but notice a rakhi on your wrist.
Of course.
Interesting.
So who tied it? That's your question, huh? Well, it's a funny story, and it's true, huh? I was working on trying to improve disability issues in my office for a year while I was between my job in Bangalore and my job in Calcutta, in London. And I met one girl, her name was Vegeta. And I just thought she was smart. And I needed something from that meeting that I'd had. So I sent her a message and she was very helpful. 2 weeks later, she turns up in my office. She said, "Oh, I've come to work here now." I didn't know anything about it. Vegeta, same Vegeta. She said, "I've always wanted to work in India." I said, "Oh." I said, "Why did you want to work in India?" She said, "Well, I was born in Bihar." She was born in Gaya. Anyway, we became good friends. I've been mentoring her for the last year. She tied the Rakhi before I came to India. So that's where the Rakhi, so it's from a Bihar girl that's ended up making her life in the UK. And the best thing about Vegeta of all is that 3 weeks ago, she got promoted. So, there's your answer. And one more thing before I run away. On a wild goose chase, because I probably won't get anywhere near the CM, this is for you. Because this wonderful lady really inspired me with her story. I know you all know it. And you know, it's about how you grow. So you'll look after my plant.
Yeah, sure.
You'll water it every day.
Sure.
You'll treat it like a baby.
Yeah,
Next time I come back, I will see bigger.
Yes, I will send you a photo. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Okay. We done?
Yes.
Good. I
We
need
are
to run.
getting late, तो थोड़ा सा next time करते हैं. एक we'll have one group photos and then we'll come.
Group photo? You'll have to come here. Huh?
No, we'll be here. Everyone will come. Nikhil.
I would like one. I would also like one if someone can take one.
He can only, because after this, take one with this.
But I don't want to block people, so I'm going to go down like this.
Let's all,
Let's all get down.
okay. Yeah.
Come.
Oh.
Come.
Photo. रोशन ऊपर से दो.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. The story is really
Thank you.
inspiring.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So kind of you. Mike, yeah. I'll give you back this. I've been known to get on planes with these than me before.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating speech.
best.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.